Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I realized I have not done a wrap-up video since I think it was August, maybe. So I'm going to do a collective fall wrap-up. So I'm just going to go through every book that I read in September, October, and then like this half of November. And I'll give you guys my ratings and my thoughts, and then whether or not I recommend that you read them if you haven't already. So, the first book that I read in September was Dance of Thieves. This is a duology. I have the second one. I have not read it yet, but I really enjoyed the first one. I gave it a 4 stars. I heard the second one's better than this one, so I really want to get to that in like the next couple months. Hopefully I can add it onto my TBR. Not this month, but hopefully December or January in the next couple months before I forget what happened in this book, because that tends to happen to me all the time. But I definitely recommend this duology if you have not read it. I can't really say whether or not the second one is good, but based off of this one, it ended on a cliffhanger, so I really want to get to the second one. Let me know if you've read it, because I need to prioritize it. So the second book I read in September was The Love Wager. I absolutely love this book. I gave it a 4 stars. The characters were just so funny and the chemistry was on point. Lynn Painter is such a good writer, and the way that she makes the stories, it just makes you like fly through the book. I think I read this, I read this in a day, and that usually doesn't happen. It is a shorter book, but it was super good. Like, I really loved it. So I definitely recommend this, and all of her books, really. And then the next book I have talked about so much. That's Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. I saw this book recommended from Destiny, and it definitely did not disappoint. Like, she was definitely spot on with describing how, like, the characters were just amazing, and the storyline was amazing. It was so cute, and I just loved it. After this book, I literally have wanted to read all of her books, and I'm on her series right now. What is it? Queen's Cove series. I should probably know this. I've read 2 of them, but so far absolutely loving those 2. And all of her books are on Kindle Unlimited, which is a huge plus. Oh, and I gave that 4 stars. The next book, I also read this in September, and that was Badana. I liked this book. Like, I was intrigued by it, but the ending was underwhelming and it was kind of weird. Like, she has a relationship with death, and it was a little strange, but I gave it 3 stars. I read the entire Off-Campus series, I think, so I gave The Deal 4 stars. The rest of them I gave 3 stars. So The Deal is definitely way better than the rest of the series. I loved the characters in The Deal way more than these characters. But I do love that it's like a found family. They're all connected in the stories, and that was probably my favorite part. I kind of just forced myself to read the entire series, and I feel like for me, if I read series pretty much in a row, then I have more motivation to finish them. Because then otherwise I'm not going to remember what happened. But with these, it's nice because you don't really need to remember what happened in each book. They're like standalone series, but the characters just connect and show up in each book, if that makes sense. But The Deal, 4 stars, and then the rest of the series, so The Mistake, The Score, The Goal, and The Legacy, I gave 3 stars. And then next I read Assistant to the Villain. This was a new release in the fall. I don't remember exactly when this came out, but I read it pretty soon after it came out. And I know a lot of people really liked it. There's some people that didn't really like it, but I read this during my reading spooky, like witchy books for a week, and I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. I mentioned it ending on a cliffhanger probably like 10 times in that video because I was so frustrated about it. But the second book doesn't come out for another year. I didn't give it 5 stars just because the writing wasn't great, but the story was just so unique that I had a lot of fun reading it. But yeah, long story short, 4 stars. I definitely do recommend it. 2 cute witchy rom-coms. the X-Hex, and then the Kiss Curse. I also talked about these in that reading my spooky witchy books for a week video. I gave both of these 3 stars. You know, they were fun, fast-paced, cute books to read, but nothing special. It was just like a generic rom-com, but they're witches, so they were really fun to read, especially during like the Halloween fall time. So I definitely do recommend them for that reason. But I mean, it's not anything that I would like run to go buy and read because they're not that great, if that makes sense. And then I read That Kind of Guy by Stephanie Archer. This book I really loved. I love the characters, the storyline. I was like forcing myself to go to bed because I was staying up reading this so late, especially because it's on my Kindle, so I was just like flying through it. I also read this in like a day and a half, and I gave this 4 stars. It was in a small town, and it kind of gave me the When in Rome and Practice Makes Perfect feeling from Sarah Adams' Rome, Kentucky series. And this is like the closest I've gotten to how I felt reading those books, and I absolutely love those books. I know I've talked about that before, like probably 5 times in some other videos, but this is kind of the same. And there are 4 books in the series. I'm pretty much done with the second one, so I'm going to talk about that one too after I talk about this, because I feel like I could pretty much give my rating right now. But it follows 4 brothers, and they're all in the same town, Queens Cove, small town. Then I'll just talk about the Ron Mr. Right. I'm reading this on my Kindle right now. I think I have maybe 50 pages left. I don't really know exactly, but I'm almost done with it, and I think I like this one more than the first one. So this one could be a 4, 4.5 is what I'm going to put it as right now, but it might change depending on how the ending goes. But I definitely do like this one more than the first one, I think. As of right now, I do. And I read Happy Place by Emily Henry. I also gave this 4 stars. It wasn't my favorite of Emily Henry's books. I definitely liked Book Lovers and Beach Read more, which is why I didn't give it a 5-star. But I just love her writing. Her writing just goes way more in depth than a normal romance. Like, I wouldn't really say that her books are all for the romance. Like, there's usually something deeper going on in the story, and I definitely cried reading this. Like, it was a really cute story, and I love the characters, especially the main male character. He was just so sweet, and I really had a fun time reading this. But I remember reading this and talking about this on camera, and I kind of forced myself to read this because it is in hardcover, and I don't really enjoy reading hardcovers, but it was still fun to read, and I recommend any Emily Henry book. I mean, she has amazing books, and her writing style is way different than anyone else's that I've read. I read these a couple weeks ago by a thread. I read this on my Kindle, and I gave it a 4-star. I know a lot of people that I follow and watch on booktube gave this 5 stars, but it just felt like it was missing something for me. I don't know if it was like the characters didn't seem as connected as they should be. I don't know, but the story was really cute. I did have fun reading this. It's just super long, and I feel like it didn't have to be this long, but I know a lot of her books are super long, so that might just be how she writes. I don't know. This is the only Lucy Score book I've read, but I did enjoy it, so that's why I gave it 4 stars, and it just didn't feel like a 5-star to me. Okay, and then the last book that I read, I finished this a couple days ago. That was the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I did enjoy this. I gave it 3 stars. I just felt like it kind of dragged on, and I mean, I heard that people were saying that there's a mystery in it, but I mean, I figured out the mystery in like 20 pages in. Like, when she was describing what was happening, I was like, okay, I think I know who this is. or who the mystery person is. I am excited to read the other one that's coming out this summer, and it deals with her friend Hazel, and she owns a bookstore when the main character is a bookstore owner. I always like reading those books, like the Ron Mr. Right that I'm reading right now. She owns a bookstore and it's in a small town, so it's just like, it's the dream job. Like, who wouldn't want to own a bookstore in a small town? I would love to do that. But I'm getting off on a tangent. But yeah, 3 stars just because it did drag on. Maybe I didn't really enjoy it because I'm kind of out of like the fall like type of books. I want to read more Christmassy and fantasy books right now because it's winter, even though it's like 60 degrees right now. But I did enjoy this. It was a lot of fun reading it. I saw it everywhere, so I had to pick it up and see what all the hype and talk was about, and it was a good book. I really do like the main characters in here, and again, it's that small town setting, so I always love reading small town books. So yeah, I do recommend this, and I will be picking up the next one when it comes out. I'm not sure how many will be in the series, but I'll read them all. I've read 17 books in the last like 2.5 months, which I know it's not a ton. Like, a lot of people read that many in 1 month, but I also have a full-time job, so I read like about 4 to 5 books a month, and I'm trying to read more than that with having a Kindle. It's been a lot easier, but I am excited to finally read some Christmassy, some fantasy. I haven't read fantasy in a really long time, so I'm excited to hopefully start the Throne of Glass series. So let me know down below if you've read it, because I'm nervous. It's like 8 books, I think. Half of them are like that thick, like 800 plus pages. So I'm a little nervous, but I want to start it in like the next few months. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and also subscribe if you are not already. I'm almost at 200 subscribers, which is insane. So thank you guys so much for all your support, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!